Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We are back with Matt Warder of Seawolf Research. Matt, thanks for coming back on the show.
Hey, no problem. It's a little impromptu, but glad to do it. Even we have a little bit of an update since we spoke on Monday.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I talked about on the podcast. I thought Glencore was going to wind up taking down this auction, and well, as it turns out, I'm wrong about stuff a lot from time to time. And I don't know if Glencore's backed out, but it's apparently down to two parties for the Anglo Coal assets.
Yeah.
And one of them is a consortium of Peabody and Buma, which is an Indonesian sort of mining conglomerate. And the other is this consortium of Stanmore Resources, the Golden Energy Resources, and Matt Lattimore's M Resources.
Okay.
And I think they've hired Deutsche Bank to advise on the project. And Matt Lattimore has been really active in the space of late. I'm kind of looking at that group of folks and wondering if I think they can probably take it down.
Okay.
Now for BTU shareholders, myself included, this wasn't exactly on your bingo card
not at all.
For them to get this far down in the finals. But I'm not sure what to think about the combination of Peabody and Buma yet. The other thing that might happen is I think it's on November 30th. BHP can actually make another bid on the whole entity.
Oh.
Which I think I mentioned, but I was still so sure that Glencore is going to take this down.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think those are the three possible outcomes. And if we had to place bets, I'd probably I think the Stanmore group is probably going to be more likely at this point.
Okay. All right. So the three left standing are BTU, Stanmore, and what's Matt Lattimore's?
Yeah, Matt Lattimore's company is M Resources.
M Resources.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and Golden Energy. Golden Energy and Resources is the other one. GEAR.
Okay.
I think they bought South 32's assets.
Okay.
Not long ago, but yeah. So it's never a dull moment in the coal industry. A lot can happen in just a couple of days, as it turns out.
Yeah, no kidding. So, what would be the implications if Peabody did take it?
Well, I mean, short term, obviously they're gonna take a hit. I don't know what capital they'd have to allocate, or they'd have to go into take on some debt in order to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the split of the consortium would be, so it's kind of hard to say. Over the long term, I mean, they're good assets, and they're PLV coking coal, like very high quality. So over the long term, it's not really that terrible of an outcome. It's not part of the short term thesis.
Yeah.
For Peabody, and with I think Thomas had sold off their stake because it had gone. I mean, Peabody went to $30.
Yeah.
So when it gets up there, you have a company that's actively managing P&L. Like you expect them to take it off, and I'd expect them to buy back in, but this sort of throws a monkey wrench in the works of like how quickly that might happen or those sorts of things. So I think we have to wait and see, as it were.
Yeah, listeners know I've been running the what do we call it, the BTU money hack, secret money hack.
That's right. Might get a chance to do it again.
Yeah. That's exactly where my interest lies here. When do you think this deal could come to end of the month?
End of the month,
November 30th.
Yeah, that November 30th date is if Anglo really wants to get this deal done and freeze out BHP, they're going to have to get it done by the end of the month because I don't think BHP has lost interest. Let's just say.
Okay, yeah, it might be doubling down here.
This is the drama of the mining industry.
Yeah,
the ongoing soap opera of it all.
I'm very curious what the cost of puts are right now on that.
Hard to say. With me, like with the long-term thesis, I'd rather just wait for a sell-off and then buy back in.
And then buy in and get more shares for long-term. Yeah,
that's easier for smooth brain folks like myself to manage with. But,
Okay. Interesting. Now, what odds would you place on BTU grabbing it as opposed to the other two?
We'll call it
40% or 50%?
Yeah, call it like 45% chance is the Stanmore group, maybe 40% chance BTU. So or 45-35, and then the remainder going to nothing gets done, and BHP swoops in to make some noise once again.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. I can do the math on that.
Yeah, that's according to the numbers that I made up in my head.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. Well, I like to gamble, so this is a good one. Okay. Any other news in the coal sector?
Yeah, well, there's some news in Shaanxi province in China where what we're hearing is that the administrators are telling all of their coal mines in the province. So this is where China produces most of their high quality coking coal.
Yeah.
They're telling them to run the mines at 110% through the end of the year, at the very least. So I don't know if that is China gearing up for trade tensions with the United States.
Okay.
And they want to freeze out. Maybe they want to freeze out the U.S. like they did Australia for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
As the new administration comes into play,
Yeah.
that would be short-term bad for U.S. coking coal producers. That's been a clearinghouse of sorts for the U.S. this year. U.S. exports to China are way up, and part of that was because that particular province wasn't producing a lot. The production was down significantly in the first part of the year, and now it's going to be back to normal, maybe rising over the short term. So that's it's not so great. Like everything, it's just musical chairs, right? So if China ramps up production and takes more from Russia, Russia's also ramping up a mine called Elga, which kind of competes with U.S. high volatile coal.
Okay.
That's going to be about another 2 or 3 million tons coming into the market. I think starting pretty much next year. So we have this little period of we have an oversupply that isn't big, but it looks like it's going to get a little bit bigger. And China's still producing steel like gangbusters and putting it out onto the global seaborne market. So, the 6 to 9 months that I thought we had left in the China steel inventory cycle, maybe now we're looking at a year, and that keeps a lid on coking coal prices through 2026.
So do you think this might create another little buying opportunity for AMR, Warrior?
It might. We haven't seen it quite yet play out in the price. Prices are still right around $200. And we are still in the middle of restocking season. So regardless of whether Shaanxi output rises that quickly, they're still going to be actively contracting for coals that contribute to stability, et cetera, et cetera. So not sure it does anything like immediately, but I do think what it bodes is another kind of violent shoulder season come February.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So what brings you out to the New Orleans Investment Conference? What are you hoping to get
well,
out
I was actually came down here to help a company out, but they're not here. They canceled. So so now I just had some free time on my hands and come over and say hi to my friend Steve and talk about coal for a little bit.
Nice, good deal. You mentioned one company. Which one is piquing your interest?
Sure. So there's a company called Power Nickel. I stopped by and saw a friend of mine who's the CEO.
Okay.
I've owned that one for a little bit. They had it's kind of a small nickel play in Quebec called NISC, and they initiated a drilling program, and they found a whole lot of other resources. Let's just say.
Okay.
I can't remember the specifics off the top of my head, but it's turning into a kind of polymetallic, interesting deposit of sorts. So it's I 3x'd already on it, and we're kind of settled into this like 60-70 cents Canadian range. Ticker's PNPN.
Okay.
On the venture exchange. But it's interesting.
Okay.
And like the CEO a lot, it's one of these ones where now I have a free stake and I kind of don't care what the share price is.
Yeah.
But the drill program is active, and there's still Republicans haven't gutted the IRA yet, so there's still that sort of like domestic critical materials in North America component that any new supplier of critical materials that could potentially come into the United States is at least you gotta do some scratch work on it to see if it's viable. So.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. I like nickel, and it's a lot of fun when you get to a zero cost basis.
yeah, exactly. Those are the ones. What's the meme on Twitter? It's the scene from Mad Men where the guy like walks through the elevator and says, I feel bad for you, Don, and Don says, I don't think about you at all. Like that's how I feel about the share price of those companies when you wind up with kind of a free ride on it.
Yeah.
HCC is Warrior Met Coal's in that boat for me here at this point. U.S. Steel was in that boat for a long time, but you just kind of let them do what they do, and you have to be kind of cycle agnostic if you're a very long-term investor like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Matt. Do you have any final closing thoughts?
No, just keep tuning into to In It to Win It, and if you want to contact me, you can always go to thecoaltrader.com or follow me on Twitter at mfwater.
Right on. We'll put both links down below. Matt, thank you very much for
Thanks a
coming
lot,
back
Steve.
on the show. It's great to meet you finally in person.
I
This is
know, I
cool.
know. That's great. Love to do it in person.
Yes, and thank you for tuning in. Be sure to support the show and share this with anyone that you think needs to hear it. It's probably your buddy that can't stop talking about tech stocks. You have yourself a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you next time.